In this video, we're going to focus on how we can make these xScale labels going from top to down instead of the standard bottom to up. So let's start to explore how we can do this in chartjs 4. So to do this, the first thing what we need is our boiler template, which you can find here on chartjs3.com getting started. And once you're on here, scroll down and then just copy this chunk of code and you're good to go. So let's start to create this scale where we are from top to bottom with the text. So to do this, we will have to do some rotation and we're going to create a custom plugin. So the first thing what I would like to do here is just say Monday, and I'm going to show you why, and say Tuesday and then extra long. Alright, so the reason we are doing this is we need these to make sure that this all works nicely with enough space once we start to rotate that. So first, what we need to do here is we're going to go into the xScale and we're going to use the rotation. So we say minimum rotation, and this is what he set as a default is on 0, but I want to force the rotation to a 90-degree angle. And of course not like this, sorry, but make sure it's in the ticks area. So you pinpoint the ticks and then say min rotation 90 degrees. Let's save that, refresh, there we are. So as you can see here now, it's just from working from bottom to top, but we want to have it from top to bottom. So this M should be the other way around. So you might say, well, we could just do a 270 rotation, but no. chartjs does not work with that. It just doesn't work like that. If you do a negative, it doesn't work as well. All right, so we'll be needing this because this will always give us the measurement of the length from the scale bottom based on the length of the text. So we're just copying that part, or basically borrow that item. So now we're going to need, in here in the options, we're going to say plugins, make this an array because you can have more than one plugin, and we can say here the vertical ticks plugin. We just do it like that. Alright, so once we have this, we can now create our constant, and this will be our plugin block, and the ID will be equal to the vertical ticks plugin. And then we're going to say here, after everything has been drawn, we will draw or recalculate everything and draw this final item. And what we will be needing is the chart, the arcs, and the plugin options. So once we have this, now we're going to say here constant, do the object destruction equals the chart. Basically, I just want to strip away this part, and then we're going to say here I want the CTX because I want to draw in the canvas. And the next one, what I would like to do here is we'll be needing the scales, and specifically we're just getting the X scales because I want to extract the labels of them. All right, so once we have this, we can say yes ctx.save to save all variables above, and I'm going to say yes ctx dot. And then what I will do in here for now is we're just going to put in all the default options, and later on we can move this into the plugin if we want to really make this advanced. But let's start with the basics. We say let's say here for the font, I want to say here 12 pixels, this is the default, and then the font family is sans serif. Next, I will say here ctx dot fill style, and that will be the color, and then we can just say here light gray, or I think it's not sure which color that is, or RGB 102. If I'm not mistaken, this is the one. Then what we want more is, I guess, a text alignment. Let's say here ctx at text align, and for now I'll just put it on the left side, and maybe we might change that because we were going to rotate the text. All right, so we have all these basics. Let's put in now the text, and from there on we can look how or what we'll be needing. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get a specific value. I'm going to show you which one. So what I want to do is from the xScale, I want to say here dot get labels function, and when I do that, we are now able to extract all the labels nicely, and there we are. So we get the whole label item here. So this will be very useful for us, and basically we can then extract them one by one. So what I will do here is for these labels, let's make this a constant, and then we can do a for each loop for these. So for the labels, and then we're going to say here a for each loop, we say dot for each label that I would like, that will be a label and then an index number, and then function our expression, and then in here we're going to calculate the item, or let's see what we need. First of all, I want to break down here what we have. So we can say here x, and then we're going to use another function. It says get the pixel for the tick, and the reason I want that, and then which one it is, the I want to know the positioning, and positioning is basically the tick of these. So let's save that, refresh, there we are. So we get all of this information here, and this is our X item. So now, let's see, we can say here constant X is equal to this specific X coordinate. The next one we need is of course our Y coordinate. So what do we need here? Well, let's do the following. We're going to say here console log X top. And the reason I'm getting that one, console log, hold on, 91. Oh, maybe we can just remove this or just delete this. There we are. Can I exit X before initialization? What are we doing here? Oh, all right. We have an issue here, and the reason is we have this here. This is the object, or this is already a variable, so we cannot use this here. We will just say this will be the X core, and then this X top will probably work fine. Now, there we are. All right, so we have here the X coordinates. So this Y for X top is basically the coordinates here up that we need. So basically we get here the center, and we get the upper one here. So basically we have the X coordinate, that is this, and then the Y coordinate here up. So we can just say here, for this one we could just use the Y, because we didn't put in here comma Y. If we did, then you have to change that to Y core. To be consistent, I'll just say Y core instead, so that's very clear. So now let's save that, refresh. All right, so we've got all of the information here now. Now we can draw the text, and then what we're going to do here is we want to save all of these. We'll be needing this, and after later on we'll be resetting it as well. So, and the reason why is what we're going to do is we're going to draw the text here. So let's start to draw the text. Here's ctx dot fill text, and then here we're going to put in whatever the text is, and then here the X and the Y coordinates. So basically this one here that we have, and then the Y core as well. Make sure that this is a bit neat. There we are. So what is the text? Well, the label that we get. So we can just grab this label and put this label in here. Save, refresh. All right, as you can see, we now have something, and they are exactly here on top. So this is all correct because it should be in the center. But now what we want to do is we want to rotate this. This is now going to be rotated. So what we're going to do here is the translate. ctx translate. And what I want to do basically, or what the ctx translate does, is it says within the canvas, I want to have a new 0, 0 position. And that will be basically the X and Y coordinate that we have. So we're going to say here, the new 0 is not here in the corner up, that's the standard one. We say this will be, here will be the 0. And the reason we're doing that is because then we can rotate this nicely. So we're going to say X and Y, that will be the new 0, 0. So once we have that, you will see now if I say this will be 0, 0, it will work, but because we have this translate, we have to do something very important here. We need to say ctx restore to undo this afterwards. If you do not do this, you get a very weird effect. So make sure you do that one. All right, x and y. All right, so what is the x and y? Is of course the x and y coordinate. My bad. There we are. Exactly the same, but we put in here now 0. So if we say here 100, you would see it would probably move a bit more further on. All right, so this works all nicely. Now let's do the rotation. So to rotate, what we're going to do here, we have to make sure that it's here. We say ctx rotate, and then for the rotation, we'll be needing basically the rotation variable that I will put here up. I'll say a constant angle, because how many degrees we need to rotate is either 90 or 270. In this case, we can just do a 90 degrees. Because if we do 270, we'll get the opposite effect. So let's say here, so we say math.pi divide by 180. And the reason why is a full circle is 2 pi. So 1 pi equals a half circle, and a half circle is 180 degrees. So we want to divide it by 180 degrees, and then afterwards we can just multiply it by 90. So what I can do now, rotation will be the angle by how many degrees? 90 degrees. So we're going to save that, refresh, there we are. So as you can see here now, it works, but it is overlapping on each other. Plus, it's a bit too close here. I don't like that, so what we're going to do is we're going to give it, let's say 6 to 8 pixels in extra space. So now, what we want to do here, we can say here, let's say, we can probably do it here on the width. If I do here +6, let's see if that works. There we are. All right, so what I'm going to do now is just another cosmetic trick here. We're going to say a comma, and I'm going to say a color, and I'll just put it transparent. And what this does is make this text colorless. And then now the other one is showing. So this looks all quite good. And I think we're probably done. Let's see what I want to do just to be sure. We're going to say, let's shorten this, say just back to Tuesday, and see if Monday will work nicely. There we are. And there you are, you can see here now this works perfectly. I think we could even push this a little bit further down. Maybe make this 9. That's a bit better. And that's it. So basically, that's the way how you can rotate them. You do need to use a whole trick for it, but there's no other way at the moment.